They can see us right now, I guess.
Oh, not yet. Okay, let me clap. Let me clap. Ready? Okay. Good. Okay, let me. I think it's waiting to pull up.
We can.
We got a little delay on it. Okay. Can y'all hear us? You can hear us? Okay. You comfortable? Come closer. Oh, you rolling. Oh, okay. You can go. You want to roll right here? Let's see what's going on. Oh, yeah, we up there. Man, that white jacket. That white jacket loud as hell. Look good? Contrast? Okay. All right, we good.
You want to introduce, start it off?
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so we want to welcome y'all to Back to Black. First episode. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's gonna be off multiple episodes. Who knows? We'll see. But we here, and we excited to bring this to y'all. This has been a lot of thought and process that went into this, and we're thankful. You know what I'm saying, that we get to do this here. You know, and I'm glad that my man's Malik came through. You know, courtesy of North Face. Whoop whoop.
Shout out to brand.
Shout out to the brand, you feel me? Shout out to Adidas, the drip is always right. So, you know, we do what we got to do. But yeah, back to black. How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling good? Y'all had a good time? That's good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I imagine this to be like a conversation.
Yeah.
By no means am I expert. You know what I'm saying? We're all here through our own personal shared experiences, and what brings us all together is like the conduit of climbing or outdoors, we all feel good some way from the outdoors, and that's what brings us all here. But I want to just have a conversation about how it feels to be us in your skin, navigating in the spaces that we do navigate. And, feel free to ask any questions. Anything that has worked for me, I'll tell y'all what I done. It's not like I'm trying to gatekeep. I'm actually trying to do the opposite by leave as many doors unlocked and windows partially cracked. Be like, if you come around the master's house on this side, you can climb in way easier than banging on the front door. Because just from my short time in the industry, it's like I have gotten help, you know what I mean? But it takes somebody to bring me up in their circle of influence where it's not like, oh, look at this black person. Like, actually put me in a position where I can benefit from any type of help or, you know what I'm saying, assets that come the way just from knowing people who are prominent in the industry, And a lot of times as black people, we're good enough to be in an ad, we're good enough to be in a movie, but you're not good enough to be on a team. You're not good enough to be sponsored, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know, I'm just here to say, like, that's okay. Because I think I don't want us to be in, if that makes sense. Like, I understand that there's a lot that comes with beneficials being with brands or, dealing with brands or whatever. But my idealistic goal is to create a system where we don't have to go through the brands to get outside. You know what I mean? I want it to be where there's enough like Camp Yoshi's or, Melanin Base Camp type situations where locally you can meet up with other black people and like get outside instead of like thinking that a brand can come save you. Because, I mean, like, especially as an artist, always in the back of your head, you're thinking of, like, someone saved me. You're not – some people have it louder than others. That's why you always be like, how'd this rapper sign this bogus deal in 2022? We done seen this 100 times. It's because you want to be saved at the end of the day. You want to get to a point in your career where you're like, I'm good from this point forward. And I'm just here to say, like, brands won't save us. There's a lot of things – that it does help, but you know what I mean, it's not going to be the all-in be-all because it was built to be exclusionary, you know what I'm saying? Things are changing now, but if it ran to be exclusionary for 60 years, in 2 years it's not going to change, you know what I mean? So
that's true. Yeah, no, it's real. I mean, like, I know for myself, like being in this industry, there was nobody there to talk to. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of it was like trying to find a path, find a way to kind of figure out how I'm gonna get through, how I'm gonna make it, and a lot of times I had to talk to people who I didn't really want to talk to, who couldn't really understand where I came from, and a lot of times I didn't even mean anything to them. You know, they just want to see, you know, most of the time what I could do for them, and you know, sometimes that's hard because you know your skills, you know what you got to offer, and I feel like a lot of times you gotta like
I mean,
do shit that you don't want to do.
yeah, I mean, there's a certain point where you have to do what you have to do what you have to do until you can do what you want to do. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
The way I've circumvented that over the years through sacrifice. Like, I've always sacrificed my shelter for art. You know what I mean? Like, for me to start my career, my lease was up. I was staying in a shitty apartment, bed bugs and all that good stuff.
Yep.
And instead of getting another apartment, I just bought a tent and I camped for 6 months. And instead of paying rent, I paid myself. And that's how I afforded my cameras, my lenses, MacBooks. But it's like, I did that because like I had no other option. I was adopted, so I can't go home. You know, I have no home unless I'm provided. So where most kids can graduate, you know, live at the house for 6 months to a year, I didn't have that option. So I had to give it to myself. And you know, the things that came from that decision I never could have imagined. But that's where I'm saying, like, with brands not being the end-all be-all, because it's like, I don't know, there's so much gray area in chasing your dreams. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anyone in here wants to be pro or and all that stuff, but it's like, between being a pro, there's so much more that can happen in between there that you can't even account for. But I just do know having a community, like, me being here comes from Bethany, who founded Brown Girls Climb, who started Color the Crag, and like that was one of my first climbing festivals that I shot early in my career. And being around black people or people of color to that magnitude, I haven't seen anything else like that. Yeah. And for that to be my first experience outdoors changed my whole outlook and trajectory of how I interact with outdoor spaces or expectations. Like, my first time, I'm at a crag with 350 black people and colored people. I thought it was kind of going to be, you know, a little salt and pepper at every crag I went to. And it's like, nah, you're the pepper flake, my guy. Like, you are. But it's not to say, like, it's intimidating for a lot of reasons, you know what I mean? Lack of knowledge, lack of resources, the actual dangers of the rural areas. But having communities like this, I think, is what's necessary for the change. Because there's another thing for the people who've been exploiting us and excluding us to be like, okay, now we have all these DEI programs. Like, what you know about us? You ain't never dealt with us. Like, right. You know, how many black people do you know outside of coworkers, your favorite athlete? Let me see your wedding, your reception photo book. That'll tell me if you like black people or not.
Yeah.
And it's going to take us having our own platforms, our own spaces, and leading. Like, that is very important. Just as much as the corporate sponsor support, we need to have spaces like this for us, that we can cultivate it. You know what I mean? We can ease you into climbing.
And you know, it's crazy because, like, for example, we all get the catalogs, Prana, Patagonia, all of them. We get them all, right? And I would say within the last 2 to 3 years, they put in more black people in their catalog, more people of color and things like that. And it's good, but let's be real. When I go down south and talk to my partners down south, they don't want to wear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Tight ass.
I mean, that's the thing about, like, the drip of climbing. Like, why I'm fat, I might not be the most best climber. I'm gonna be the freshest one. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm from the hood, you know what I'm saying? We didn't miss to put it on. So it's like, I'm a mix of J's with the North Face. But like, I don't want the black puffy. Like, give me the off mountain. You know what I mean? Yeah, the off mountain stuff. Yeah. Because it's just like I come from a culture of like showmanship. You know what I'm saying? Right. We can get into why. Right. You know what I mean? But it's like, we've always been proud people and like fresh and gaudy and like showing your style. So like, I don't know. A lot of times, I want us to carry that over into climbing. Because climbing is like foaming at the mouth for something new. They want new experiences, new outlooks, new views. But a lot of black people, when we get a chance to be in these spaces, like, we'll, you know, assimilate to what we think you know, how they will want us to be, and that'll help us get further. Me acting like a South Memphian has gotten me pretty far. I don't know when it's gonna stop getting me places. It's gonna be a point where they're gonna be like, I don't like this nigga no more. But right now, it's, you know, it's pretty cool. So
yeah, and it's crazy because like we all see the DEI conversations happening, you know, and they doing what they got to do it. But it's just like at the end of the day, the people who are having these conversations to put whoever into these catalogs on the website or create these spaces don't look like us, don't know where we came from, and ultimately don't know what we like. So they do their little research, and ultimately it's like it comes down to, oh, we got the black faces in the catalog, that's good enough. You see what I'm saying? But it's just like when I open up the catalog or when I see these things, for me it's like I don't even know if I can really vibe with that. I don't believe I can connect with that. And so I still wear what I wear. You know what I'm saying? I still, you know what I'm saying? Even, you know, sometimes I don't know, sometimes when I go to like the outdoor stores like REI and things like that, and they got these colors, boy, like lime green and fine, you know, I'm wearing lime green shoes, but I would never wear this shit in public. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, it's like who's having these conversations about what I want? You feel what I'm saying? I feel like if you really want to connect with me and my culture and my people and what we do and what we like, have my nigga Malik up in the joint. Have us in the conversation on what our people want, so we can connect with them and talk with them. What you gonna do when a white man come up to you and say, hey, what you want to buy? You know what I'm saying? What you gonna tell him? You know what I'm saying?
I'm just gonna, but even I just take, for me, it's like I understand why it's lime green and ugly colors, because if you're on the side of a mountain, I don't know, you know what I mean, like you need that to stand out. You in a snowstorm or any type of storm or wind, you know, event, it's like I need to know who, and for pictures, you know, pop.
Well, we just going to the grocery store. We going to the corner store. Nigga, let's do it.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's just I don't know. I swag it. I find a way to make it fashionable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's real.
Because it's
when you know Pookie and them, they be like, yeah, that with the lime green coat, that's him.
But I mean, like I grew up in a hood where we was wearing NASCAR Oreo jackets and M&Ms, and you know what I'm saying. So we can make it work. And the thing about it, I didn't have a coat before North Face. You know what I'm saying? I'm a hood dude. I just wear 2 hoodies, like 3 shirts. You know what I'm saying? 2 pair of pants or something like that.
Yeah.
And that impacted like my fashion because I wasn't dressing to look good. I was dressing to stay warm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like when I got my first jackets, it's like, I don't know. It opens up a world where like you can do certain things longer or better or more comfortably. Because having appropriate gear like opens up doors for going outdoors. You know what I mean? Like if you're miserable the whole time, if you do survive, you ain't never gonna want to go back. You know what I mean? But it was like people in the hood never thought of wearing North Face before until like I started wearing it. And so it's like those type of bridges of connectivity where it might be foreign and like we ain't gonna wear it, but like you might give someone a reason to wear it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fresh now. It ain't, you know, it ain't Gucci or nothing. Well, they do got North Face Gucci, but
they got that North Face Gucci now. Yeah.
But who making it look good? Who's swagging it out? Who you see entertainment wise in that stuff? Black people. You know what I mean? Like if it's always been, if we want to put a little, you know, flavor on it, you know where to go. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than Dapper Dan. You know what I'm saying? Up in New York doing the bootlegs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The bootlegs. Yeah, that's what we used to do. Who can come by? He said, I got Louis Vuitton purses, I got everything you need, $20.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'd be like, let me get 4.
Let me get 4.
Everybody getting a good Christmas gift this time, boy.
It was funny, me and Malik was joking about last night how every neighborhood, every hood got a Pookie them. You know what I'm saying? But he was talking about how one time Pookie came by with 50 socks.
Oh, yeah, when you say Pookie them, it's just like the culture of hustling. And it's like I'm just coming out the corner store and dude like, hey, you need some socks? I'm like, nah, I'm good. He's like, I got 50 socks for $10. And I'm like, let me see them real quick. I was like, 50 pairs of socks? You're like, I'm good for the rest of my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me see what they look like. I got $10 real quick.
But when he come by talking about, hey, he got 20 rolls of toilet paper for $5. Yeah, let me get that. But then now you look weird because people come over to your
You're
Me
hoarding.
and I was talking about that.
But
We got a stack of toilet paper. You need one? Okay, well, I got it for $5.
but for me, it's like I take that same hustler inner city mentality and apply it to the industry.
Sponsorships, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly what we did.
it's not one sort. You know, everybody say multiple streams of income. I by no means am no financial guru. You know what I'm saying? Do not look at my books, and Lord forbid if they fire my taxes. You know what I'm saying? But I just know like I look at multiple streams differently now. Like I started off as a photojournalist or a cameraman.
Yeah.
So taking photos, that's one stream of income. Now I do speaking gigs, that's one income. I do appearances, you know what I'm saying? And I'm working a nonprofit, and I'm about to work on another nonprofit. And with I don't know, it's just like there's ways to position ourselves in this industry of like positions of power. You know what I mean? Where you have some sort of influence, whether you work for the company, are close with the athletes of the company. Like if you have some sort of influence in the industry, you're never like lost or alone. You might not get what you want off the bat, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know, in my experience, brand loyalty, staying down with the people who put you on goes a long way. And equity, out of the DEI, all that, I don't give a damn, but the E, equity, pay me. Equity, I want, well, how much you make off this project? Me and him do this project, how much you make? I didn't make that. You know, I got a percentage of a percentage. It's like equity, break me off what you getting so like I don't have to lean on, because it's gatekeeping through finances and stuff. You know, if you don't have the money to hold something like this or the sponsors to hold it, then it don't get held.
It's real. I know for me, like when I first started Beast Fingers Climbing, I did not really have too much financial support to lean on except myself. I had my retirement that I had built up because I came from the tech industry, and I did that, came out the hood, went to school, went to the tech industry. A lot of companies I went to, I was the first black employee. And when we talking about gatekeeping from like a tech perspective, I don't know how many of y'all in tech, but you know what's up. It's real. Some of y'all, if you've been in tech, you know you're not really welcome in that space, especially we talking about 2011, 2010, and you a black developer, you know what I'm saying? But let's be real, like when you're in the hood, you know, and you kind of hide that you got a little tech side to you. You see what I'm saying? You don't want the other little niggas like.
All my homies who did tech, them the ones who burnt the CDs and you know what I'm saying?
Doing all the
pirate, had the DVDs and stuff growing up. You know, that was
like,
tech.
Yeah, that's a smart. Go to his house. He can get you all that shit copied. But it's real because it's just like, you know, now I look at where I am in that space, and when I go back home and I talk to my partners back home, and they still trying to figure out how to hustle, how to survive, how to pay their bills, I can tell them, hey, you can go get a Cisco certificate in a couple months and be making the money you need to support your family. Or like, hey, you can get a 2-year community degree, community at the college. And I got a partner that I went to school with. He didn't even go to a 4-year college. He went to community college for 2 years, got a little tech degree, went back to the hood, bought a house, moved his mom and dad into the house, got his family in the house, started a family, and now they like a light on the block. You know what I'm saying? So now everybody's trying to figure out how did he do that? And I feel like in climbing, like Malik and I, it's like I feel like when we're trying to bridge those connections and the gaps between can a black climber who's skilled find financial security in something that they love. Like if you love playing basketball, you know you can make money playing basketball. If you love rock climbing and you black, can you have the financial security of LeBron James? Probably not. But I think by us being here in this space, being able to talk to people, we can show people, hey, yeah, that you might not be making LeBron money, but you won't be making enough to actually do what you got to do to connect with your people and show them that there's a way out. I mean, you can play basketball, but if you love rock climbing down to your heart, you a climber, you know what I'm saying? You can make enough to get a little apartment, pay a car note, and all that right there. Maybe start a little savings on the side. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to give y'all opposite advice. If you do it for the love, not for the money. The money will come eventually, but, like, the love is, like, why are you doing it? You know what I mean? Like, often when I talk to high school kids, seniors and stuff, They be like, you know, what are you gonna do when you graduate? And that's the one question everybody asks the kids, and they don't know, or you know, they say what they think you want to hear. And I always tell them like, if money wasn't an issue, like money wasn't an issue every day, what would you do?
Yeah.
And be like, oh man, if money wasn't an issue, I would, you know, I'd do this, I'd write scripts, or I'd act, or I'd paint.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you should do that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know we all have bills, but I'm a minimalist. Like I said, I'll sacrifice shelter for art. You know what I mean? Because we live in a society that will keep us in this box where you don't get to experience nothing different. You don't ever get to find yourself. You never get to walk down these outlets or avenues that could lead you to some kind of metamorphosis within yourself. And I don't know. That's where, like, if there's, I don't know, if there's any information I can give people to help them get further to where they want to go, or if I know somebody. Because, I mean, networking and communalism is what thrives. Most of these people who are in these positions, once you start getting to corporate, it's like, oh, you dude, nephew, that's why you here. This dude's a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Not a mine. But it'd be like, you'll see the connections. I don't know. So it's just, I don't know. Equity.
You see those family ties.
Yeah, and we're still trying to get in the door. And, you know, as soon as you kind of get in the door, you're worried about losing it. You know what I mean? Like me, you know, they love that I'm outspoken, but when's the day going to come when they hate it? You know what I'm saying? Like, when is going to be standing up for yourself going to be too much? You know what I mean? When am I going to start getting labeled as hard to work with because I believe in standing up for myself?
I had that feeling too, because for me, it's like when I first started this business back in 2015, like the whole topic around JEDI and DEI and all that wasn't really happening. So for me, when I first started my business, being like, as far as I knew, the only black person in the space of the outdoor industry, I was a little lost. And so for me, I don't know if I had the power to create the conversation on, hey, can y'all create more opportunities for people that look like me? Can y'all do this? Can y'all do that? And I feel like for me, my dad was like my biggest support, because for one, he grew up in the Jim Crow. He went through that era. He saw what he had to do to survive. And so I feel like the advice that he gave me was like, hey, if you love this, like you're saying, if you love this, pursue it. But he told me, he said, son, I don't know why you doing this. Why you struggling like that? Why you have to put yourself in these positions to try and make some work that's so hard to make work? But for me, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I had a calling. I felt like I did. Because there's no other reason why I would be sleeping on the streets of Denver with no place to stay to try and make this work. But I felt like that was necessary for me to kind of create a space where my people could live and where my people could thrive. Because I've been to the climbing gyms. I've been around, and I've seen them. I started climbing, you know, when the mega gym wasn't even like the mega gym at the time. I feel like at the time it was Earth Treks. They had that one little mega gym over in Maryland, and then all the other gyms was like, you know, small community kind of type environments. And for me, coming into climbing at that time, I feel like was better for me than if I had came into climbing the way it is now. Because the way it is now, you walk into a space and you feel like you walking in a Disney World. You know what I'm saying? These gyms are so big now. I remember the first time I started rock climbing in the gym, it was in a YMCA small little box, and they had concrete ceilings and they had quick draws in the ceiling. And I said, man, I like this right here. And that was all I knew. You feel what I'm saying? Nah, man, people walk into a gym like that, they're gonna be like, where's your overhung wall? Where's this? Where's that? Like, man, where's the yoga studio? Like, man, just ain't had that back then. So it's like, you know, to be in a position where I can now create an alternative space for people of color to kind of come and kind of feel, you know what I'm saying, in a community, you know, that feels special. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So,
but I don't want to talk at y'all. So, like, how do y'all feel? What brought some of y'all out? You know, you ain't got to be on camera. Just talk to me, you know.
Yeah, y'all ain't going to be on camera. Don't worry.
But, like, what brought y'all out? What brings y'all outdoors? What some of the experiences y'all have or questions y'all have? I ain't wrapping it up. I'm just, like, want to talk to y'all.
We want to hear from y'all. You from Texas? What's your name? Kayla, that's right. Kayla. Okay.
You got some cookies right now?
The thin mints. Yeah. Right. Yeah. 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 Tennessee. Yeah. That's cool. That's true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow. So you made the trip. So let me ask. Yeah. Huh. Huh. Do you have family here? So how did okay? Because I've been thinking about that. Because I moved out here with no family, and y'all did too. Oh damn! Everybody, family. You from Colorado? You from Denver? Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to. I'll pass this mic.
Yeah, we can pass.
We'll pass. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that, people on live. Sorry, live
Sorry
humans.
about that. So okay, I'm curious because for me and Fa'a was talking about this too. It's like when we come into these cities that don't really have too many people like us, but we love the city that we in, right? It's like, how do we survive in those cities? Because to be human is to have community, to have love, to have care, to have people around you who support you outside of climate, anything. Just people that you can resonate with, that you could talk your slang and your lingo with, like we was talking, and it's like, over time, I remember I was talking to Malik about this last night. When I first moved to Colorado, I used to call my partners back home like every week so that I don't lose my lingo. So that they can let me know, bro, you starting to sound white. You feel me? So far I'm good. But I do code switch more than I used to. So, but it's something that we need, you know, because it gives us so much soul. Because we know the neighborhoods that we come from, our hoods that we come from, how we felt when walking down the street and the smell, the recipes coming out the doors, and all the grandmas open their door wide open. You can smell what everybody cooking. Like, we know what it feels like to have soul fused with life. And then to come here, and I'm like begging the restaurants to give me salt. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like...
Like doing you a favor as a black man, shit. I don't want no salt in none of mine.
You want?
Nah, I'm trying to live.
You trying to live?
High blood pressure real, bro. I'm a Southern black.
That's funny, Southern black. Yeah. So it's like, what do you do to like build your community? Like, how do you?
The question to the live people is, how do you build your community here? Like, you moving here.
You moved here. Ain't nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no black people here.
This is something that's been on my mind. Can I hold it?
Yeah, let's hear that. Hey, Malik.
Yeah. This is something that's like been in conversation with my family, like at home, and with my friends from home. I think just from my experiences with putting myself in like these like type of environments, especially working in the recreation outdoor industry growing up, I just got so used to like putting on like a face and like being approachable. I just got so used to it because I'm from like a college town, the suburbs or whatever. But I think the older I get, the more I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over this. Like, let's get the ball rolling. But
you kind of get tired of putting on the face.
Yeah, and it hit me this year. Like, not even a couple. When I moved here, like 5 months ago, it hit me like a month in. I'm like, wow, I'm so done with, you know, just being that other person. I'm like, I don't care if people find me approachable or not, you know. But yeah, just being yourself, I guess, helps.
I like not being approachable. I mean, like, my ex used to be like, you don't look approachable. I'm like, why in the hell would I want anyone to think they can walk up on me? Exactly. Like, I don't want you to ever think you, that shit ain't sweet, bro. I might be cool, but I might not. I'm glad, I don't know, but it's like, I understand that as a black male, unarmed, I'm a dangerous being. You know what I'm saying? Like, unarmed, or you should just show a picture of me. You can say I did anything. They gonna be like, he did that shit.
Yeah, that nigga right there.
Right, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't try to accommodate racism or ignorance. In my appearance, like, I believe in the way to defeat a stereotype isn't assimilation. A lot of us, you know, I'm gonna wear my khakis and my little puffer, you know, like the puffer vest thing. Y'all know what they be wearing. The little, you know, collar shirt that's plaid under it, you know what I'm saying? Try to walk like this, but it's like, but I feel like the only way to actually defeat a stereotype is to be present with yourself and your local. I use my colloquialism, slang. My hair is like this. You can have whatever apprehension or preconceived notations of black people with dreads and wild hair you want. But like, as soon as I talk to you, I'm smarter than most of the people I'm in the room with. So like, you can say I'm a thug or an idiot. As soon as I get to talking, we're going to figure out who's smarter than who pretty soon. And like, that's the way you defeat stereotypes. That's the way that like I've navigated in this industry. But I will never judge a black person for how they choose to survive, because we're all under immense oppression. We're all living in an occupied state. You know what I'm saying? At any time we get pulled over, we know this can go left or sideways, you know?
Real quick.
So if you choose to assimilate or code switch because it's easier in your day-to-day, I don't knock you for that, because at the end of the day, we all trying to survive. I've just chose a path that's a lot more rugged. Yeah, I mean, now I have opportunities because people love it. But like I said, there's going to be a day when they're going to flip that switch. It's like, we ain't loving it.
As soon as JEDI and DI ain't a trend no more.
essentially.
Lord,
And the thing is, like with Jedi, why I have a very problem with that is because white people give themselves these badges where like I'm a Jedi. It's like, damn, I seen Star Wars. Them motherfuckers was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? You a Jedi, dude? Like, it's self-performing.
Yeah. Hey, say that for the mic. Come say it.
Well, I'll repeat it. She said the people who lead the Jedi conversations or DEI stuff is they white people.
No.
She got a job. I
We
understand.
got you.
She got a job, but it's like true. It's kind of like if Darth Vader was like training Luke Skywalker the whole movie to be a Jedi. That's essentially what. But you can like say I'm a Jedi and do no work. You know what I mean? You can say I'm an ally and get a pat on the back. The thing is like, so I ID as a feminist, but I don't say it. I mean, I'm saying it now, but like I don't be like, hey, look at me. I think women are equal, because as a man, I benefit from the actions of terrible men. Meaning that if you juxtapose me with like, you know, I'm good to women because I don't beat them. You know, I ain't never raped nobody. I ain't never did this. So it was like you can cause that juxtaposition. And with like this DEI, Jedi, I'm an ally. You're not murdering people in the street like Ahmaud Arbery, but you know, you still think every black person's a thug and have microaggressions. Like, just because you can juxtapose it don't mean you're good. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I have a vast problem with these terms, because it's like, as a man, the greatest thing I can do for feminism is not telling y'all I'm a feminist. It's when we leave in the club and there's a chick walking to a car, my homeboy trying to holler at, and I tell him to get his ass in the car and leave that woman alone. And so, like, if you an ally, and you want to tell everybody you're such an ally, don't tell me. Tell them in that boardroom when they saying this racist shit and everybody ain't, you can hear a pin drop, you know, stand up for it then, you know what I'm saying? If someone's being exploited against or discriminated against, that's when you need to be vocal. But that's also when you don't get the pat on the back. You don't get to say, look at me, you know, I'm a good person, so.
Put everything in jeopardy. That's what it takes to make an opportunity for the next person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we take the hit now, but it's gonna come back around. It's gonna work in your favor. It is. That's real. So it's true, man. Anyone else got any comments on how they survive moving from home, coming to a new environment?
Or like, what is the end goal? Like, let's ask black people that in the outdoors. So what is the end goal for us? What would we like to, because like a lot of times we let the brands and stuff give us their metrics of like end goals or what they would like to see and change. Well, what is our end goal? Like, would we want to be fully accepted on these teams? Are we trying to have a black community in Denver? Like, what would be, what would y'all like to see as like the you know? Hold on, Rick.
I think the end goal is for us to take our righteous place in all of these things, because in every other sport and in every other arena that we step into, we're the upper echelon of such, right? Because they wouldn't let us into this network, because of socioeconomics, because like you said, we don't want to show our places and not look good and feel like ourselves, they've been able to keep us out of there. So they don't want to give us, they say they want diversity, inclusion, equity, but they don't want to give up enough equity to where we can open the floodgates and put us in. Because if they let us start coming in and being what we truly are, the Alex Harnolds, those dudes will be up out of there. Say what?
Give you a percentage of share in the company.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
My
so
family, my children, my nieces, my nephews, my auntie,
all of them,
grandma,
you know.
everybody.
So, and I think that this is their last bastion of the only of them seeing themselves in at the upper echelon of these sports and in these arenas. But once we get in there, we taking over and we climbing to the top, literally and figuratively.
Snap on that. Snap on that.
That's why it's like, shout out Kyle Leitner, who been killing it. You know what I'm saying? One of the first black pros. I don't know. To me, he's the first black pro.
Remember we was talking about Allen Iverson, about how he never got a ring.
Oh yeah, Iverson never got a ring, but he changed the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Basketball, boy.
And
What's that?
Snoop Dogg has no Grammy.
no
That's
Grammy.
crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Gin and Juice ain't get a Grammy? Someone Google that. Gin and Juice should have a Grammy. It's like Diamond and stuff.
Gin and juice.
But I don't know. Essentially, like, man,
So kind of touching back to the point we were talking about, not wanting the brands to come and save us. So I'm working with a co-founder right now. We're trying to build our own. Right now we're targeting headgear, because like I'm sure you probably all know, these hats, these helmets, whatever, are not designed with us in mind. So we're trying to be our own thing. I know, Brother Jalen, you can speak on that. You building brands and building businesses too. So it's about building our own. Similar here, right? You start here. I'm sure there's a next. So it's not like it's an end goal.
It started on
but
the
it's
street.
the next.
You gotta start small. Yeah. Dreads, yeah. Yeah.
All I said, online people, was it's crazy how they have helmets that don't fit. Like all the black ice climbers, me, Fred, Manoa, none of our helmets fit. Like I be pulling my dreads through the side straps. It be loose on top, you know what I mean? Or I don't even clip it sometimes, and it's like putting me at danger. But no. I mean, nah. Well, yeah, I did say all. The individuals I climb with the most who are black. And it's like y'all ain't even got dreads, but it's just like our hair grows towards the sun.
Yeah.
And that's not accommodated in any shape, form, or fashion. I can wear beanies and bucket hats. That's all I can wear, cause like.
It's true, because Malik, they changed the NFL spec designs for the helmets because of so many players with dreads. I remember even when I had my dreads, fitting a helmet was difficult, and it almost incentivizes you to cut your hair off. Should I have to change who I am just to be safe?
I did that. I had locks, and I had to cut them off because one, I couldn't fit helmets, and two, because I kept getting viewed and kind of stereotyped as this Rasta man in the outdoors from all these white folks. And I think to go back to the question of what is the end goal for us? It's ownership, to have not just our own businesses where we are creating products and having services that really serve us, that are by us and for us, but to have property where we have spaces like this where we can come and go year round. And we're building that right now. It's like we got a little glimpse, we've seen this before in history with Tulsa and Rosewood and stuff, and it's like, okay, this time it's like we have no choice. We have to start building this. And I think to survive out here, particularly in a space like Denver, it's an amazing city. It is. It ain't popping with food and all that, but it's got its gems. And for us to survive, we really got to organize, and we have to strategically get together, because otherwise we are so segregated. And that's how it's like that's how the city was designed. And I've seen, I want to shout out to all the women of color, black women of color here, because they have really been doing some heavy lifting on getting us together in these spaces, like this one right now. Big facts. Big facts. And we got to continue that. We get exhausted, and we got to just find a way to keep it going, because our people are, we need us. And I'm getting,
You hitting on some shit.
Yes, I'm hitting on some. I think one more thing.
And issues with the graduation rate for black men and black women, and how black women are graduating with higher education degrees, doctorate degrees, bachelor's degrees. And what's happening is they're getting higher paying jobs, which allows them to start businesses, to explore more hobbies, to try snowboarding. And then because the spaces that you're in when you have a higher income is with, I hope nobody watching this video is named Brad or Tommy or whatever. But you're like, what you doing on the weekend? Oh, hanging out with the girls. Why don't you come out here and go snowboard with us? So now they snowboarding, and they got the money to afford it. So when we're seeing these women who are pushing the barriers forward for opening up the door for black men like us, now it's like
for our whole communities.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, because it's like now the conversation is, well, how do we? That's a bigger conversation. How do we get more black men to graduate? How do we get more black men getting bachelor's degrees, getting higher paying jobs, not trapping no more? You know what I'm saying? So it's like now, access to capital. And so for a lot of our communities, the black men find themselves in entertainment, in the arts, and things like that, or the streets, and same for the women too. But the women are pushing these barriers aside, making opportunities.
Yes.
So they're creating these spaces, and I think when it comes to the topic of DEI or JEDI, now we're not really talking about the gender of the black or the black woman or the black man anymore. Now it's just color. So when we look at all these groups that started, it's crux in color, or you know, color the crag, or things like that. It's not like women color the crag, or men color the crag. Not so. Women have made that opportunity for us.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And I think for the whole community. And I feel like even when we go back all the way back to slavery, the same thing was going on with Harriet Tubman taking up the ranks and making opportunity. So it's like ultimately, you know, there's been tons of research that's been done on why black men find themselves in this position of fear or insecurity or all these things, and why black women are on the forefront. That's a bigger conversation that we have to have with our own community, with our own hearts,
Yeah.
black people. But even during that time, the black men weren't too proud of leaving Master's house because that could get him shot and killed. Now we don't have an opportunity to create more children. So the black men have always been kind of fearful and afraid to kind of take that next step forward. Sometimes the black woman is her voice and her power can either jump her husband into action, or she do it herself. And that's how it's been. And you know, I would like to be a part of that conversation, because I feel like I'm in a position, Malik too, I feel like we're in positions as black men that we can now say, nah, bro, you could do this too, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you could climb, you could do this, you got talent, you got skill, you can do this. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know, dog, like this is so familiar, trapping's familiar, or doing this is familiar, or you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, when we can comfortably share with them, like, nah, bro, like, we can do this. You know what I'm saying? And show them examples. We got Malik, we got Kai Lightning, we got all these brothers out here that's trying to, you know, come into the spaces too. And I think ultimately, when you got both black men and black women putting the two together to make moves happen in the communities, now we talking. It's the doors are breaking down now.
Literally.
Everything coming down now.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Like look at football, look at baseball, all these sports. You see what I'm saying? So right now there are 9 million climbers in America, give or take. There's 24 million basketball players in America, 32 plus million soccer players in America. All these sports are predominantly black. The children that are playing football, Little League, all these little sports like that, they're doing these sports. So I'm trying to, and when you were talking about the next step after this, there is a next step after this. It's like, how do we become a part of that conversation? Hey son, what sport do you want to play? You want to play basketball, football? Not a conversation as, son, what sport you want to play? Or daughter, what sport you want to play? Basketball, football, or rock climbing? You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the conversation that I want to happen. When it's gonna happen, I don't know, but that's the conversation
I don't know. I'm trying to set up the family where it ain't what you want to play. It's like, it's Saturday, wake your ass up, we can go climb this mountain. Cause I mean, like, for the people I hang around, it's just something you do. It's a part of your life.
Yeah.
Like Conrad, he was like, in the summertime, my dad used to like pack like a huge cooler full of food, drag it up to the saddle on the ground and stay up there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that was summer vacation.
Yeah.
Like, that's what y'all did? You know what I mean? But it's like, I want those type of same experiences for our kids. You know what I mean? Like, to know that those spaces exist. Like you were saying, you was in the Girl Scouts. I was in the Boy Scouts when I lived in Utah, and like that was kind of some of my first introduction to the outdoors. And like, you have to know that it exists, like, because of urban sprawl. You know what I mean? Because of redlining and gentrification, we've been further and further pushed out of outdoor spaces. And like, once upon a time, people be like, you know, the woods ain't for black people. You know what I mean? We can say why, racism. But there was once upon a time where we navigated north using celestial bodies through swamps, forests, deserts, etc.
Yeah.
Without a GPS, you know what I'm saying? Like, we walked that shit. And we was very in tune with, you know what I'm saying, the outdoors. So why have we gotten to the point where, like, well, it's racism, it's urban sprawl. I mean, there's a point where, like, if you live in a city like New York, there's a green space, Central Park, a green space. And, like, naturally, if the body looks at a lot of grass, your eyes dilate and your heart start beating fast, it just feel good, endorphins flow. And where we live, there's a green space. It's not like just go outside. Yeah. I'm like, last year I won a truck with a camper on it. And I'm starting a TV show called Outside Ain't Free, because somebody literally had to give me a truck to help me get outside. I have these sponsors. They literally have to give me the gear so I don't freeze to death, and the coolers to stay to keep the food, and you know what I mean? Like, it's so much to show that, like, we've all heard it, like, you're outside free. You can just go do it for everybody. And it's like, I guess, you know what I mean? But, like, I don't want to go boulder in no J's, bro. Like, some climbing shoes, some decent ones, there's going to be like 150. And I can't even drip in them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I spend 150 on some shoes. I need to wear them hoes to the club. I can't be in there like this, tiptoeing around, talking about, what's up, fool? What you doing, bro? It's just different. You know what I'm saying? But I just want, like, with black women, I don't know, everyone around me is black. My producer's a black woman, my lawyer's a black woman, my manager's a black woman, because they smarter than me. Like, I'm a man. I be ready to burn the house down. They be like, wait, Malik, is there something still in the house? I be like, I'll be damned. You know what? The $1 million still on the bed. I was going to burn the house down. You right. I'm going to chill out this time. This time I'm going to chill out. But it's like, I don't know. It just takes everybody doing what they can in their part. Everybody's position isn't the same. We're going to have our brothers and sisters on the corporate side working from the inside. We're going to have the visible people like me. We're going to have the business people like Aman. You know what I'm saying? And we just got the people who just want to enjoy it. Like, you don't have to be the best. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the apex. Because I just always say the average individual who comes to a gym or go for a hike, you're not risking your life. You're not trying to break a record. And you ain't trying to have people singing your praise for the next 50 years. I just want to feel better than I did before I started. And if I can create a space for that, or like, oh man, I ain't never thought of climbing. How can I get into it? Oh, well, there's a gym called Beach Fingers, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always throwing a lob, because it's just that interconnectivity. Yeah. We all need each other to be here, you know? I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Bethany. Like, so shout out to Bethany, you know what I'm saying? Like, her, I don't even know if, like, she's a visionary, but I don't even know if she saw this. You know what I'm saying? No, I know she sees it. I know you're watching, but I mean, like, I didn't know that she could, like, you know, when I got hired at Color the Crag, I never thought this would come from that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, I was just always curious and always dedicated to my people. And, you know, you mix that curiosity with the love of what you're doing, anything can come from it, because you ain't never going to stop. If you love it and you always curious, all I know is I know nothing. I don't never think, I got a world-renowned, award-winning film. I still be reading books like I've never picked up a camera before. You know what I mean? I still talk to my peers and mentors, because at the point that you, like, believe your own hype is when you fall off. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you don't forget where you came from.
Nah, I be in my hood every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't know. That's another thing. Like, moving out here, we've heard y'all stories. I'm terrified, because it's like, I'm coming from a majority black city, been around black folks my whole life. Like, where am I supposed to do just average hood stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, I like standing on the corner, smoking and drinking. That shit is fun to me. Like, if King of the Hill can do it, all right, we got one. And look, and it's just like, you know, if it's hard, it's like, who I'm gonna date in Denver? It's like, damn, I like. Eat. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm surprised we found hot wings today. I was like, y'all got hot wings, and they different flavors. Oh my God, I be having to go to Applebee's. It'll be like the only wings I can find in these mountain towns. It'd be microwave. It's terrible.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
But yeah, anything y'all want to say to the world, or?
I mean, where do y'all? I mean, where do you? In the spaces y'all do, because I know y'all do a lot of things. Y'all snowboard, climb, cycle. Is there any outdoor sport that you do that you feel more welcome in? What sport is that? Or is it all the same? Yeah. Like, out of all the outdoor sports that you feel more? Basketball. Hey, the big sports don't count. They all the same?
Oh,
climbing is more. You say
she said climbing online people.
Yeah, climbing. That's good to hear.
They said they climb with more black people.
Y'all hear that shit?
You know, outdoor sports wise, I don't climb, but I don't see many black people, and I'm out, you know, in the wilderness backpacking a lot of times, and I do that because I don't want to run into some unfriendly white folks when I'm just out there by myself. But my main outdoor activity is scuba diving. I've been a dive master for about
no niggas down in no ball.
Yeah, man. And I'm telling you, I've got 300 dives under my belt, and there's been one time in my 10 years of diving, and I got on a boat, and there was some other black folks on
Hey,
there.
wait a minute. You ain't saying you that. Hey.
I'm part of NABS. I'm part of NABS, and they're out of Atlanta, and I go there. It's like my mama's church friends. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like this,
you ain't telling me.
these is my people, but they're not my peers. You know what I mean? And out of 300 dives, I was in Florida, and I met these two brothers, and I'll never forget the names. It was Lamar and Lamont, and they were Navy corpsmen. And they had just learned to scuba dive and just learned to swim, and they was coming down to practice for their tests, right? Wow. But out of 300 dives that I have, I've never ever seen any other black folks besides the ones that I took with me.
One in the water, like you looking at a coral reef and you turn next over, like, yeah, we looking at the
Man, I would be so happy if I saw another black person on the boat, because I get on there and these people looking at me like, what is he doing here? I'm like, what y'all doing here? Exactly, yeah.
Right.
That's where I moved here from too as well. So yeah, I hope to find us in more of these spaces, and so we just need to go together, y'all.
Yeah. Anybody? Nothing? Climbing? Oh, hey, I'm gonna give it. Is this wireless?
Well, the people online can't hear you.
Bethany can't hear you. Ain't she part of the clip? She gonna be like, I can't hear you.
Probably climbing or hiking. Also, I'm very intentional about the community that I seek. This is like my job. I'm in the outdoors a lot, so finding black people or people who look like me, like all my jobs.
Top secret, trying to keep people employed.
I'll just say I'm a field instructor, and so I lead a lot of things outdoors and facilitate them. But yeah, I would just say for me, I'm very intentional about the community I seek. So like coming to Colorado, I didn't climb till I got to Colorado. And then after I started doing that, I was like, oh, brown girls climb, like this is perfect. Because when I first climbed, I will say it was great because I climbed in a space of all women. So like I felt very supported my first time climbing. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that. And so they'll try it. Like I feel like most people will try it, but they won't get into it or they won't stay into it because they don't have like the really good first experience. That first experience makes or breaks it. Like it really does. If you're not feeling supported, if you're not feeling like, oh, I can do this and you got somebody else cheering you on, I feel like it just changes the game for it. But yeah, I was in a space of all women the first time I ever climbed. And I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. But like, also they were all white women. So it's like, you know, it is what it is. They were lovely. And, you know, it wasn't bad, but it was like, y'all ain't my people, you know? And so then going forward, finding Brown Girls Climb, and then that just being this like very cyclical thing of all these black folks and all these brown folks and all these people that I feel very, very comfortable climbing with who have shared experiences. Like, no, we're not a monolith, but like, we have very similar experiences in the outdoors. And so it's like they get me and they get how I need to be supportive. And that's huge. Like how you support somebody, how you show up for somebody, especially when you're trying something new and something that is scary or you're intimidated by. So I was very intimidated by climbing. I still am at times. Like, and that's like when I'm climbing in a space of all white men, I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. Like, I'm gonna just do it because I do love climbing, but it's like I would rather be with my people, or I would rather be with the people that I know are genuinely there to support me and just to be there for me, you know? Yeah. So that's my experience.
I don't ever want to end up in a space where the people tolerate me, like in the outdoors. That's scary when you think about it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really like you, but we're going to put up with you till we don't. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. We black, keep fighting. Just know that I'm going to knock down every door. If there's anything y'all ever want to know or how I did something, just ask me. I'll tell you. You know what I mean?
Any of y'all want to start businesses or something? Or
I don't know about
athletes?
that. I mean, out here, since they can have dispensaries, we can start our own drug business. I ran a couple of successful empires in my day. It wasn't a dispensary, but it was kind of the same. We had a lookout on, crackhead we paid with like someone walking up to the porch. But I don't know. It's good to have these spaces. I never really would think stuff like this would exist in climbing.
This didn't exist when I came in.
Yeah.
When you like, and that's what's beautiful about like the color of the crag. It's like it connected us together in the thread of our blackness, to be able to be in a space that welcome us. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like for me, when I first started climbing, I was introduced to it by a buddy of mine, Scott Jose. I'll never forget his name. He saw me and just kind of outdoors, just kind of, you know, because I just love the outdoors. Like you were saying, it does something to our bodies when we're in the environment of Earth. No technology, no devices, no nothing. Our bodies crave that. It likes it. You see what I'm saying? And it calms us down. And I just always, as a kid, since when I did the Scouts as a kid, you know, the Pathfinders thing, you know, I was just like, you know what? I like the outdoors. It did something to me as a kid, and it's gonna do something to me now. And I always knew that that's the energy that I was gonna get outside. And so he found me, met me, and he was like, hey man, you know, we should do stuff outside. So I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I had just got a new job in Washington State, shout out. And he took me outside and taught me mountaineering, like straight in, you know what I'm saying? I ain't had no equipment, I ain't no boots, nothing. And I remember we was talking about this last night.
They just throw you in the most intense situation.
But bruh, that thing, the skills that I learned on that damn mountain allowed me to survive homelessness in Denver. I ain't even lying. Because how many of us would know that you can get a 15-degree sleeping bag, either from a hand-me-down or from the thrift store, or for somebody who just give you the cash to front for a bag outside. Fill that motherfucker up with some hot null jeans, and that thing will keep you warm till 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm up here in the snowstorm like, zoop. Oh, it's still coming down, zoop. Well, I be toasting that. And it's just like those skills, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to the hood and teach my homeboys that, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got homeless people out here dying on the streets.
I mean,
I seen them, when I was out there, I was like, man, if they knew, you know what I'm saying? They up here trying to get into a shelter because the shelters are packed full. They got to prioritize mothers and children. That's what we got to do. The men lined up outside in sleeping bags, and they still dying. And if they knew these skills, we could save lives.
but I mean, if that would be up to us to like go to where they are and teach them and show love and break bread. Because I mean, reach one, teach one. It's like recently in Memphis, we had a man freeze to death in front of City Hall. I believe we cannot call ourselves civilized because like a civilized society means we take care of our elderly, our mentally ill, and our sick, and our homeless kids, anybody who can't take care of themselves. That would make us civilized. If we weren't civilized, it's like, you sick, we should kill you now. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the point humans are freezing to death. Holy shit. I might not be able to house this man, but I can call on the industry that I work in and get 30 puffies. You know what I mean? And like,
it costs them like $12, what, even cheaper to make.
And you know, like, but that's where it's like not waiting on them to do right by us. Like, I ain't saying for you to come to Memphis and put together a program. That's on me. I'm a Memphian. You know what I mean? Like, it's for us to be the change you want to see. Take the networks that we do have and like do something about it. If you actually, and it ain't actually, because it's not. I'm not ever condemning anyone. You know, God love a giver with a open heart. You know what I'm saying? So. Don't do it unless you want to, unless you feel moved and compelled to. But I just believe that we can't call ourselves civilized or a civilized society if these type of easy fixable issues.
The outdoor industry could fix it.
Easily. Like if I could get them ever suits, but they're like they're like 1,000 each. You know what I'm saying?
$10 to make.
I don't know about it. Probably 80. But it's like
$80
maybe, I don't know. An ever suit might be 100. It's not much, but it's like. Just imagine if you get every homeless person had like an ever suit.
The whole suit. You mean
the Himalayan suit. Yeah. Like. Yeah. But I don't know that we wouldn't be able to make that's but that's capitalism. You know what I mean? But that's where if you can leverage a sponsor or lean on a sponsor, you know.
We can even take the average amount of homeless deaths for the wintertime per year. Get that many, the outdoor industries can come together and get that number of bags and whatever together and just drop them in these cities. And I mean, it ain't like thousands of people dying per city of death in the wintertime, you know. But like, if we were to take the totals of the whole country, then yeah, those numbers are high. But if we were to go to the city of Denver, how many homeless people die of winter in Denver? And then we go to Memphis, how many in Memphis? And then we go to New York, how many in New York? And I mean, it's like, I don't know those numbers.
But it would be like a whole, and that's where you would
find out.
a brand trying to start they'd have to start a program, get people on board, have all these meetings. There's a difference between me being like, look,
That's what DEI should be doing. You feel what I'm saying?
yeah,
JEDI and all them.
I don't know. I believe in community. Like if you ain't from
They ain't thinking
if
about
you
it.
ain't from my hood, I don't expect you to love them folks.
They
You know
ain't
what I'm
think- they ain't
saying?
Thinking about it. The whole conversation about them is like, how can we get more blacks in our catalog? You see what I'm saying?
Or-
the whole time, this is a big issue.
I mean, this is fixable stuff, but that's where like us is up on. You always are in a position to give back. When I was younger, I used to always think like, when I make so much money, then I can start giving back, or you can always do something to give back. You know what I mean? Like, long as you're able-bodied, there's something that you can do if you think hard enough.
Okay, check this out.
But
on average, about 700 people, 2,000 Americans die each year from weather-related homelessness to hypothermia and cold-based illness. 2,000.
it's a pretty big number. And I guess you would say it's
For the
fixable.
whole country.
I mean, you would say it's fixable, but it's like, logistically, if you ever worked in a company and tried to get them to do anything, they're going to break that down line by line. You know what I mean? And then it's like distribution, like, yeah, 2,000 died, but how many are in destitute? 2,000 died, but there's 10,000 out on the street. I don't know. It's just do what you can while you can, as much as you can. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I know I ain't going to be able to save everybody. I just try to save as much as possible. And instead of like leaning on brands, I leaned on the climbing community.
I guess the
I got
point is,
12,000
like-
followers. It was like,
Yeah.
if all y'all, you know, if some of y'all pros, and I know you got a closet full, you know what I'm
I guess
saying?
the point is, like, in these DEI conversations, and they're having these conversations about what should we do. Like, if they were to put, like, me or you or one of us in that room, then we can bring up these conversations. It don't have to be solving homeless hypothermia deaths. It could be something else. But it's like the thought that's going through their mind on what they could do with their money, with their billions of dollars, is like, oh, let's allot 500 million to do this. Okay, let's get 10 people in the room, marketing team and all them in the room to do this. Oh, let's call Malik into the room, see what he got to say. You know what I'm saying? It's like, call Malik, you know, more people should be in that room that can decide, okay, if we really want to do DEI and JEDI and all this.
I don't want to do all that.
My question is what is the real purpose of DEI and JEDI? Is it marketing? Or is it actual bringing more black people and people of color into rock climbing? You know what I'm saying? Is it marketing and research? So which department is it under? Is it under the marketing department? Oh, Lord. I thought it was under human and services. It's performative data measures, KPI reports, and all that right there.
Oh.
No, that's real. I mean, but these are the conversations that we can have. I mean, we're intelligent people. We can talk with them and say, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And they're going to be like, oh, I didn't think about that. Well, because you don't know what it's like to grow up in that environment. You've never been there. You don't know what it's like.
Just keep going, you know? And just know that you got a resource in me, you know? Text me on Instagram. If you black, I always make space for you.
That's real.
Well, you black, I'd be like, yeah, we can talk, you know? Because I don't want you to ever